Hello everybody and welcome to what is likely the second to last, third, fourth. There's probably going to be a fair number more episodes than we have right now. I think we can go back to Hollow Bastion before we go to the world that never was, right? We have to do some more space paranoid related stuff, I'm pretty sure. It seems like we do. So I don't know if this is going to be the entirety of this episode because this world has the potential for a lot of issues. That mainly being, hello Cloud, is that you? That mainly being a boss fight which has actually two bosses inside of it. Obviously, potentially an issue. There's some enemy gauntlets which historically have been an issue in the randomizer, not least of which is this one. So maybe we'll be spending quite a bit of time on this, and as such this will be the entirety of the episode. If we have time left, I'll also be doing Twilight Town in this episode, because Twilight Town actually isn't that long, especially if you skip through all the cutscenes, which we will be doing. You only really have the fight against the 5 trillion nobodies with Axel, which isn't that big of a deal. So we'll be doing that as well, most likely. Maybe, depending on how long this episode ends up being, we'll do that next episode. I'm thinking that maybe, I've been saying that we want to do the world that never was in one episode. But then I started thinking about that, because it's actually a fairly lengthy world. And if you think about it, you have a lot of a castle to go through, which, fair enough, you can skip those enemies if you really are inclined to do that. But then you also have a shit ton of bosses and game crashes. Damn me. Anyway, as we're under 5 minutes into the video, this might actually be a good moment to ask the question I've been asking at the end of every episode. But I'm assuming that by the end of a lot of these videos, most of you aren't watching anymore, because that's just how YouTube retention works. So, my main question being, let's save here because I'm actually not using the randomized patch because it would keep crashing. We're coming up on the end of this series, which means that we're going to need new uploads for the Sunday videos, right? And there's a couple of different options. One of them being I think, actually, hold on a moment, don't you give me an item? Yeah, let's load that with a randomized patch. It's the Dream Cloud, nobody gives a crap. Okay, so one of the options for a replacement series on the Sunday episodes, or uploads, or whatever you like to call it, are no black screens, thank you, are a different Kingdom Hearts mod, which in the Discord server we've been talking a bit about the Garden of Assemblage, which is a way less of aggressive version of a randomizer where you can actually choose the world order you go in, because the place where you usually do the data fights in Kingdom Hearts has been replaced with doors to the worlds, which means that you can, in theory, go to the world that never was right away. Which makes a interesting gimmick, to say the least. So that is an option. I'm also still considering just going on Google and seeing if there's any mods for any other Kingdom Hearts games. Obviously, Kingdom Hearts 2 is the most popular game, so it's going to have the most mods created for it. But if there's any interesting and fun mods for any other Kingdom Hearts games, that might be interesting as well. So if you know of any, please do let me know in the comments. Something else I've been considering is I've been really on TikTok. On TikTok, I know I talked a lot about TikTok before, but Avatar The Last Airbender is a very big thing on TikTok, and it's gotten me in the mood for Avatar The Last Airbender. And I'm not supposed to be here. Which then made me think, I actually kind of want to make a top 5 Avatar games video, because I think there's more than 5 Avatar games. There's obviously book 1, 2, and 3. It's not really book 1 of the Last Airbender. Then there's a Legend of Korra game as well. And I am sure that there's one game there I'm missing. I mean, Worst case scenario, the original 3 games were released on multiple platforms. I know the DS versions versus like the console versions are way different games. So that might be interesting to like do a video on the top 5. This is not going to be good, is it? The top 5 Avatar games, but also do a Avatar game Let's Play, like The Legend of Korra, which I know you can't get that game anymore, but I have it on my PlayStation 3, so I can still play it and do a Let's Play on it. Or maybe like one of the original Avatar games, right? So that is another option I've really been considering, and this is probably just going to now softlock me. It didn't yet. So those are the 2 things I'm considering right now. A different Kingdom Hearts series, a mod on Kingdom Hearts, that is, because I've played these games so many damn times, and I don't think it's very interesting anymore to just, at least for Let's Play purposes, play them as just Kingdom Hearts. I think they do need a little bit of a twist after all this time. So that's probably the thing we're going to go with if I can find an interesting mod. I'm not very warm on the Garden of Assemblage myself because it's very, very similar to what we're doing right now. And I kind of want to like change it up a little bit before I get burned out on this game, playing it twice back to back without too much like difference. The biggest difference being is that I can't use dry forms now. That seems to have been patched in the mod for the Garden of Assemblage. But that one also doesn't randomize enemies. It only randomizes chests. So I'm not entirely sure if I want to do that. So maybe there's some other mods which would be interesting. I don't know how else you would mod Kingdom Hearts, but there might be like a play as a Riku mod, for instance. I don't know, which would be very interesting. Maybe not a Kingdom Hearts 2, because that seems to be like a very crash-heavy thing. But maybe a play as Riku in Kingdom Hearts 1, because clearly he has a moveset, because he fights with you on your team like once. So maybe somebody made a mod for that, and it would be very interesting to play through Running Tackle. I've never seen that ability, I don't think. I'm not saying that definitely is a mod, by the way, but I'm just saying if that is a mod, that might be a very interesting one. So I'll have to do a little bit of more research into what are the options with the different mods, but it's probably going to be a Kingdom Hearts mod if there's any out there that seem interesting to me anyway. That all being said, I have not cut in like 10 minutes of commentary time, and I feel like it was kind of needed because I needed to get this out and ask this. I have to open these chests, which is a Orichalcum and a Slow 3, because we hadn't had that one before. I think now we can actually go on this, which is a let's save state, which is an enemy gauntlet, so this is surely gonna go well. I also think that this leads to the boss fight of the world, so yeah, we're definitely going to do Twilight Town. And I don't need to cut ahead, because obviously we are right in the middle of an enemy gauntlet now, and it's randomized, so I'm gonna keep just talking. I probably could have done that entire, like, asking you guys, oh, wait a second, this is not a traditional enemy gauntlet. I think this is a time-based event. So if enemies don't spawn on this carriage or whatever it is, the sailor, that doesn't bother me, I don't think. I think that's actually beneficial for me, even. Because the next wave won't spawn. That's how that works, right? That's probably not how that works in this case, but I'd like to imagine that it is. I don't know, I'm just gonna keep hitting enemies until they stop appearing, and which is right now, and see what ends up happening. It looks like we're still moving, so I'm going to assume that at some point we just end up at the end. Maybe? I'll see you guys back when something interesting happens, or when I decide to reset this mission. It's really hard to tell whether or not there's any progress. I mean, the surroundings still are moving, which means that we are probably still moving, but other than that, I don't know if that's just like a background that's always moving, whether or not you're making progress, and I am just stuck in a place where I will never reach the end. I'm thinking it's probably the case that I'll never reach the end. I'm gonna give it like 5 minutes though, because I do remember this section of the game, this enemy gauntlet, taking quite a while. It does feel like we're getting closer, but I honestly can't be sure. I think my mind is just playing tricks on me, but it feels like that wall is farther away than that wall. But I feel like that it's probably just wishful thinking. Probably just wishful thinking. Because it doesn't... I mean, if it were growing, I'd probably be able to tell a little bit better than how much I'm seeing right now. So I'm probably just going to reset in a moment here. Apparently, we didn't open these chests before either. I think we opened them, but we didn't drive converter. But then the game crashed, so we didn't open them the second time around or something like that, maybe? I don't know. I feel like I opened all of these chests plenty of times before. This makes me feel special. I'll be back with you when I have the second randomization for the sailor. So this time when I got onto the sailor, the game just crashed. So I guess we're going to go try the next randomized patch, but I feel like we might be able to do this with the clean ISO only. This time, it actually loaded in. So now let's see how long it takes before the game shits itself again, because it likes to do that quite a bit, it seems like. I think this is usually right after you get the master form. It's literally right away. No, it's not. Okay, so there's one more enemy. Please keep spawning enemies, because I don't think we can actually finish this if enemies stop spawning. Unlike what I said before, I feel like the distance we are from like the wall we're moving towards right now is the same it was when I waited like 10 minutes. So yeah, we're going to need to murder some fools. Can we magnet... We can't magnet large bodies. Maybe with Magnet Guy you can? I don't know. Maybe you can't. The weight is increasing quite dramatically, quite quickly. So far though, enemies do keep spawning, which is a real good sign. I know it's going to stop, and yep, there we go. There we freaking go. One of the enemies is still on, because the weight keeps increasing, which, by the way, that is not how weight works. Existing longer on the platform doesn't make you heavier. And I think he just fell through the platform because it's one of those heartless that digs. And he just dug through the platform and probably fell into the void. So there's nothing much we can do about that. I mean, we can give it another try, because at least we have a failure state this time around in the weight being at maximum. I guess that is literally improvement, because at least we can die. We're not stuck in limbo. So let's give it one more shot. And then we go to the last patch we have available. And then we do it with a clean ISO as per usual. I think we're in the same situation as before. So let's load a different patch. So instead of loading the safe patch, as I call it, which is a patch which takes into account that you don't face late game bosses early game, and don't face bosses which will overload your RAM usage, which is why the game crashes a lot of the time. I accidentally kind of selected the clean ISO, so we're just going to go through with this with the clean ISO, and then I'll re-randomize once we get to the other side for the boss fight. Because, honestly, I think the clean ISO will be the most difficult anyway, because these purple fuckers. And now we got another explosion. Is this usually where you get explosion this late into the game? That doesn't seem right. This is unrandomized though, so it must be right. I thought you got explosion your second visit in Hollow Bastion, which is your first visit to Space Paranoids, but apparently it's your second visit here, which is the third for Hollow Bastion. Huh, what do you know? We are in a new area, and you know what that means? New area means new chests with bright gems and baseball charms, which I think is the third time we've gotten that one so far, and big chests, which have a chance to get me magic! Exactly, fire elements. I think I now have Fire Gun. just fire up. That makes... Oh, we need to go to a new map before that applies. And Christmas Town map. The most useful of all. Let's save and go fight a boss. We have our first Gar spell now, though, which is not going to be too useful because I don't really use fire that much. Especially if I can't use Wisdom or Final Form. Fire becomes a lot less useful without those forms, I'm telling you, because you can't move while using it. With those other two forms, at least you can move around while using it, which is a really big difference. Our dual boss fight is now Axel and a bunch of heartless. It is not Data Axel, so... Oh, wait a second, I'm locked onto the wrong... It might still be Data Axel. I don't know where these heartless came from. I'm gonna be honest with you. It is Data Axel, never mind. So we are just fucked, is what I'm learning here. I did not want to do that. I probably shouldn't have Tron. I need Tron. Oh, I know what the heartless are. The heartless are the barriers usually protecting the master control program. Those turned into random heartless. I didn't expect that. Well, the MCP itself actually didn't get changed, interestingly enough. So, I can't... I'm confused. Okay, so I can't actually do the thing where Axel gets stunned, but I only get damaged through the floor sometimes, question mark? There's no way in hell I'm going to be able to do this. I want everybody to be aware. So that is why I saved, because I'm not going to bother with this. I want to do Twilight Town in this episode as well, so I'm not going to retry that. I'm just going to go to the next randomization. I'll show you in a moment. This isn't going much better. Gonna be honest with you. We literally just have a black screen. So... nice try, but this ain't working. Okay, Twilight Thorn is again gonna be an issue, but technically speaking, we don't need to beat the Twilight Thorn, I don't think. Because Twilight Thorn replaces... well, this is gonna be an issue. That was the issue last time as well, wasn't it? Because I got T-posed from the Twilight. Yeah, that is a problem. I was going to say, technically speaking, we don't need to beat the Twilight Thorn. We didn't need to beat Axel either. Because we only need to defeat the Master Control Program, which I am inside right now. And it's Axel again? With different enemies? It's normal Axel this time, so we actually stand a chance. Wait, could I use Overtake? Oh, that is the wrong trying. I was gonna say, I don't remember it being called Overtaker, but we could use it, and okay, I think normal Axel shouldn't be an issue. You could see how well we did against Data Axel before, and especially with this. Oh my god, that is so much damage! This is amazing! I love this! Please, more of this! I forgot to... okay, so you're now T-post, so I don't have to bother with you anymore. My only question being is, how do we actually damage the NPC? MCP? MCP, not NPC. Because we need Tron for that. And usually... where is Tron? Where are you? Can I just like... usually I need you to be able to take this dude down. Yeah, I don't think this is gonna work, like, at all in a randomized way. We can't even lock onto the other dude. Yeah, no, this just straight up does not work. So, I guess we tried. We got Axel twice. We defeated one of the Axels. Kinda. And, now we have to do it the normal way. I do like, by the way, how his little chains... I don't know the chains, necessarily. From the hoodie part of his cloak are actually modeled. And as such can probably animate. Something you probably never noticed. Don't have wall... is this an anti-piracy thing? I feel like this is just an anti-piracy thing, because you still don't have walls, and apparently This fight always just starts with 4 heartless, which I did not remember that, but they are very non-important heartless, so I guess that makes sense. Oh, that's only the first phase of the fight. That's only the first phase of the fight. The second phase is... Of course. We can't randomize the second phase though, is the issue, because we can't get through the first one. Ah, that is annoying. That also makes sense why the CP, Master Control Program, itself wasn't actually randomized, because it wasn't the boss. It wasn't the boss in the first phase. I totally forgot that there were 2 phases to this fight. It's been a while since I've done this fight. Yeah, now we can actually like do the delete command, which I'm kind of annoyed. I'm kind of annoyed by the fact that I, 1, forgot that there were 2 phases to this fight to begin with. And 2, that I can't do the second one randomized. That's not good for me. I guess I just got screwed by the randomizer. That being said, Axel T-posing just before we beat him probably means that most bosses would have done. Fuck you! So, I got a comment telling me that I, in fact, can defeat bosses in Berserk mode. I just needed to equip Horizontal Slash, because that counts as a finisher, and you can do it in Berserk because it's triggered by pressing square. Only thing is, I entirely forgot to equip it, so I can't actually use it against this boss. Good thing to remember for the upcoming bosses though, because as I was trying to say at the beginning of this video, we're going to be facing quite a lot of bosses coming up, because we've got Roxette, and then shortly after that we've got Zigbar, then we've got Luxord, which, oh my god, whatever is that gonna do? How is it even gonna work? That's gonna be interesting. And of course Syx, which also has a gimmick, so I guess we got a reflect upgrade from this, which is very much welcome. And now we've got the entire Xemnas fight, like all like 5 or 6 of them back to back to back to back, all going to be randomized. So that's going to be interesting, because there's no way in hell that I'm going to get a stable randomization for all of them in one patch. I don't even know which ones are randomized and which ones aren't. We've got the Sephiroth episode here. I'm going to wait with that until the very end, which is going to be not next episode, probably the episode after that, but potentially the What Never Was will be split into 2 episodes. I don't think it will be, but if it's ridiculously long, I will split it into 2 episodes. So again, I don't think it will be. I think next episode will be the entirety of the World That Never Was, and then we'll have one last episode going over all the optional bosses. That being the data fights and Sephiroth and Lingering Rule. So that's like 14 fights. It's probably going to be a fairly lengthy episode. There's not going to be any like world stuff in between, but there's going to be 14 fights in that episode, all going to be randomized. There's no guarantee that I'll beat them all, but I'll at least check them all out. I'm probably just going to go through 1 randomization patch with them all, because again, there are 14 fights. If I have to go through potentially 3 or 4 randomized, let's say 2 randomizations on average per fight, I'll have to do 28 fights in 1 episode. That would be, if those fights on average last like 3 minutes, well, let's say 2 minutes, that's still like a 50 or so minute episode. So I'm probably just going to go like with the safe randomizer patch and just go through all of them. Sephiroth and Lingering Will, I will give a little bit more to, as in I will try different patches probably. The data fights, I'm not going to go through all the data fights. If they just don't work, they don't work, and we move on, okay? But that is at least 2 episodes, potentially 3 episodes from that. I don't know why I'm actually talking through the gummy routes, because I usually don't do that. At least I haven't since like episode 4, I don't think. So let's cut ahead until we are in Twilight Town. And hopefully I won't die. So I think we're in Twilight Town, and we haven't actually applied a randomizing patch since getting to Twilight Town. So the first save point I find, I'll switch to the randomized patch, but I think we'll have it's an enemy gauntlet anyway, so it probably would have needed to be unrandomized either way, this fight, because usually enemy gauntlets, they softlock me anyway because one of the enemies spawns out of bounds or whatever, so it's probably for the best that we haven't gotten a randomizer applied at the moment, but I'm going to be honest with you, that wasn't planned. I just kind of forgot until I landed in Twilight Town and I saw a lot of nobodies. I was like, this feels like how it's supposed to be, which is not how it's supposed to be. Which is weird. So, yeah, with all that out of the way, let's finish this off. I think the samurai should be... Maybe there's some sorcerers after this, but after that I think that is about everything there is to this fight. Not that big of a deal. Okay, so there's not even sorcerers. There's literally just up to samurais. I did also get a bonus, which didn't get randomized, sadly. And it seems like, since we're in original Twilight Town, there's also some chests around here which test the king. That's worth checking out in a moment. Potentially gonna break my game, but still, let's save state and let's check that out. So that is an items. Can't even go into the item sub-menu anymore without crashing the game. I can still load the game. So we're never going to find out what Test the King is. I think Test the King is, obviously a test shield, which is the Kingdom Hearts 1 version of Save the King. Because it is a different version of Kingdom Hearts 1 compared to Kingdom Hearts 2, I think. And that is about everything there is to collect here. So let's go meet up with Axel and murder some nobodies. We got a manifest solution for that. For just going through Twilight Town's portal thing. We have got another save point here. We didn't really do anything since the last save point other than open a couple of chests, but it's going to save me some time when I inevitably do have to reload the randomizer. So I'm going to save here and see you guys again in the in-between realm doorway thingy. Whatever is that anyway? So does this get randomized? The answer is yes. Yes, it does get randomized. Does the Axel portion of this get randomized though? That is the question. Because that one is a lot more like the 1000 Heartless battle, which didn't get randomized. So we're about to find out. This was easy. Things are maybe potentially about to get a lot more difficult if the next phase also gets randomized, because we don't have Donald and Goofy. We do, however, have Axel, which is infinitely better. It feels like the game just crashed though, because I'm not hearing any sound. Yep, it did. Let's try again, maybe? Actually, I just realized, let's save state, because maybe now that Donald and Goofy are in the party, I can go into this menu again. No, definitely Sora has the problem there. Never mind. I think we're going to be running into the same issue. Oh, we're not! Okay, we're not. And things are still randomized. So, this should be very, very interesting indeed. Because I remember there being a lot more enemies. Maybe I'm just misremembering this fight. It's been a while since I've done this fight. It's been a while since I've played Kingdom Hearts 2 this far in. I think the last time I played Kingdom Hearts 2 was probably my previous randomizer run of the game, which is like a year ago at this point almost. So, and that one only lasted like the first half or so of the game. So, yeah, maybe I'm just misremembering, and the huge amount of enemies that surround you only show up in the cutscene. Because there's a lot of 2D dusks, usually, but I think that might just be the cutscene. Now that I'm thinking about it, because why would they remove that in the randomizer? Okay, that was not drive gate power up. That is Magnificence and another item slot, which means that the chance of me getting into the item menu ever again are even slimmer. Yeah, so the 2D sprites now. Okay, that was a map, I think. I might be able to freeze frame there for a second and show you guys what that was. But for now, that's been it. Next time we'll be taking on the world that never was, meaning the Roxas fight, which is not going to be the Roxas fight, the Zigbar fight, which is not going to be the Zigbar fight, the Luxord fight, which might have to be the Luxord fight, the Syx fight, which might have to be the Syx fight. No, probably not that one. Luxord, I'm not entirely sure if we can randomize that fight because of its gimmick. I think Syx we should be able to randomize. than the Gauntlet of Zamnus fights, which I'm going to try do with the randomizer, but there's no promises that'll actually work, because it's like a lot of fights back to back to back to back to back to back. And if one of them doesn't work, the entire sequence doesn't work. So I'll see you back next time in the Kingdom Hearts 2 randomizer run for the probably second to last episode. Maybe there's 3 more episodes in the series total. I don't know. We'll see next time. Bye.